Oh shit! Oh shit! What? What? Oh, we are back.
You look much better, by the way, doing Wing Chun than any of what was just shown a moment ago.
Oh man, shots fired. We're starting early already. What is going on? We got the Kung Fu genius Alex Richter Sifu in the house. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. It's good to see you. It's good to see you on the opposite side. It's been a minute since we did something like this together, and I always love the shows that we do. You're so much fun. You do a really great job, and I'm oddly enough looking forward to this, despite the subject material.
I'm sorry, Alex. I'm gonna get that off the bat.
You owe me one.
I owe you one.
For
All
making
right,
me
all right.
watch
I owe
this.
you one. I owe you one. I owe you one. But you know, Samurai Guy movies is. I'm the movie nerd. You're the martial arts nerd. You know, Samurai Guy likes to give things a chance, a shot. I might be pleasantly surprised. Was I pleasantly surprised with Yip Man: The Awakening? We'll talk about it in a bit. Let's see who is here in the house. We got the roll call. Lady Danish here. What's going on? Brandon, Heather, what is going down? Psych Long, Topher. Oh, what? What? We got the Dre, the Dre, the legend in the house.
Dre from my podcast, my stalwart co-host Dre Eisen, aka Dryson, in the house.
What's going on, man? Good to see you, brother. Will, what's going on? And Andrew Lynn, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for chiming in and hanging out with us.
The editor of Andrew Lynn is the editor of the Kung Fu Genius podcast, by the way.
Oh shit! Well, big shout outs.
That's right. We got the whole crew.
And Andrew Lynn. That's right. Making it happen. And speaking of the podcast, it is hilarious. By the way,
Thank you.
Your podcast is informative. Number one, it's entertaining. Number two, and it's fucking hilarious. You doing Arnold Schwarzenegger is like pitch perfect. You know, when you said, "See you at the party, Richter," I almost fell off the couch in tears, laughing hysterically.
Thank you. Yes, that is my line. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So everybody watching right now, if you're new to the Kung Fu Genius, you guys got to watch the podcast. Go subscribe, follow Alex on the Instagrammers. That's right. All the information's in the description box below this video. So you guys got to keep up because you will learn. You will learn something as well as being entertained.
We don't know what that is. It's something.
Oh man! So last time I had you here on the podcast, we had a blast. We were talking about martial arts and martial arts, some of our favorite films, and then we briefly went over and mentioned the first Yip Man with starring Donnie Yen, the one that kicked off the Yip Man craze, and we're gonna get to that. Now I remember when that movie first came out and I saw it, I was blown away because I don't know anything about the lineage or the history or anything like that. All I know was it's the guy who taught Bruce Lee a little bit, right? That's all I knew, right? But as terms of pure martial arts movie entertainment, that movie blew me away, right? Way back in 2008. So I ran around telling everybody, "Hey man, did you guys see IP Man?" It took a while, Alex, for me to learn. Okay, I was like, "Hey, you seen IP Man?" And it's funny because their first responses back were, "Is that some superhero or something like that?" Because they were thinking Iron Man, right? Like what? And if you think about it, Alex, at this point, Yip Man is a superhero.
Pretty much.
At this point, he can fly in the air. He could do everything now at this point. And I know you're coming at this movie, with respect of the lineage and the martial arts style and stuff like that. I'm going to come at it as, okay, let's just see if it's at least an entertaining film. Because even by the end of the first Yip Man movie, I was not like, oh, this is the truth. Like, I mean, one of my favorite fight scenes in that movie is when Donnie Yen fights the 10 black belts. It's an amazing fight sequence,
absolutely,
right? But I wasn't thinking in real life, the real Yip Man did that. I wasn't that dumb. You know what I mean? Because I mentioned, I think on one of your podcasts, you were talking about how it's very difficult to do a true biopic with based off of someone, it's better if they do a long series, right?
Sure, sure.
And it's kind of similar with this, except this did have a series and spin-offs and prequels, and we're all over the place. And there's a lot of fans out there that love the Donnie Yen Yip Man films, all four. I think by the time I got to the fourth one, I loved Mark Strange in it. I love Chris Collins in it. I'm a big, huge Scott Adkins fan, but Donnie looked tired. Donnie didn't look like he wanted to be there, and I didn't really like the story that much in the fourth movie. The first one to me is my favorite. I know the master remaster Frank Jang, his favorite is the second one, the Rocky Four of the series, because he likes Sammo Hung, so Sammo Hung bias. But the third Yip Man movie, a lot of people think that Max Zhang's villain character, who was kind of a gray character, was the best villain out of the series in terms of the first four. What did you
Yes,
think? What do you think about that?
I think so. So the odd thing is obviously I teach Wing Chun. This is my wheelhouse. I'm kind of a Yip Man nerd, if such a title exists. So obviously for me, it's different watching these movies. I can suspend disbelief with Wong Fei Hung movies and all that kind of stuff, but when it's my own style, it's a little harder. I
Gotcha.
like the first Yip Man movie. I absolutely hated the second Yip Man movie.
I mean,
And
Rocky
at
Four,
Rocky Four, and after watching that, I actually did not want to watch any other, as I call them, Yip Men movies.
the the, the, the
So
Yip the Yipiverse.
yeah, the Yipiverse, right? I was actually done with it after I saw Yip Man 2.
Okay,
And but everyone keeps dragging me to watch these movies. So Yip Man 3, I was dragged to see by Rick Myers at a movie theater in Manhattan. So I had to see that one.
okay,
And Yip Man 4, I saw in the movie theater when it came out a couple years ago down in Miami. And
yeah,
um, if it were up to me, I would just not watch them, but somehow I'm kind of sucked into watching them. I thought, to go back to your point, that Max Chang was the best villain, and I also thought his Wing Chun actually looked better than Donnie's in
yeah. A
the
lot,
third film.
yeah. A lot of people have said that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It
Oh,
looked
and,
more
and
authentic. Yeah,
feel free to correct me botching the names throughout this stream
that's
because I'm
fine. That's fine.
terrible. So feel free to correct me.
Sure.
Okay, but what did you think of Yip Man: The Final Fight with Anthony Wong?
So that one I actually like the
Yeah,
best out of all of them, even though it's not like the most the choreography and the action is not like as hardcore as say the first Yip Man movie with Donnie Yen, but the Anthony Wong Yip Man film is the most accurate to his story. And also, and this is like my nitpicky gripe, Anthony Wong is the only actor who bothered to shave his damn head to play a guy who had a shaved head in real life. It's like Donnie, for all the money that they pay him, cannot even be bothered to shave his head for the role. And Anthony Wong made an effort to speak Cantonese with a Fatsan accent, just like Yip Man had. And he also consulted Yip Man's sons and learned how Yip Man smoked the cigarettes and how he put the ashes in his hands and then dumped like
oh,
so.
wow.
Anthony Wong is the best actor to play Yip Man, and it shows. And I really appreciated all of those touches. Whereas Donnie Yen is just Donnie Yen wearing the long Cheong Sam style clothing, playing
Right.
a guy named Yip Man, but he's basically just Donnie Yen of any other movie. But Anthony Wong actually tried to portray Yip Man in a realistic way, and that's why I appreciate that film the most out of all of them.
Yeah, Anthony's one of my favorite actors.
He's
He's so
amazing.
good. Full
Yeah.
Contact, Hard Boiled. I mean, the guy is just phenomenal.
Yes.
What did you think of the Grandmaster?
So, yeah, it's funny. I saw the Grandmaster twice, once on my own, and the second time at the Museum of the Moving Image, where Wong Kar Wai himself presented the movie. So, I don't watch these Yip Man movie often, but I usually end up seeing them in the theater. So I saw, I mean, it's a Wong Kar Wai film. It's shot beautifully.
Right.
The way everything is presented is amazing. I thought the way Wong Kar Wai shot some of the fight scenes, especially like in the restaurant from above, and I thought that that stuff was really beautiful, and I thought that he did a really good job visually. And if it was about any other kung fu master or a fictitious kung fu master, I probably would have liked the film a whole lot better. But again, because it's Yip Man, someone whom I spend a fair amount of time studying and reading about, it's kind of a hard sell for me to imagine that this is supposed to be someone that I know did not do these things. So it's really hard for me to watch most of these films for that reason.
Right. What did you think of the spinoff, Master Z?
So I thought it was pretty good as an action movie. I didn't really like the fact that he didn't use Wing Chun until the final fight because he had
Yeah.
like because he got beat by Yip Man, so he was like shamed out of using his Wing Chun until he realized he should just use it. But
Right.
somehow he has this whole other martial arts skill set that he could use. So I thought that there was like a little shoddy, but I thought it was pretty good. But it's that the so I get bothered by a lot of nitpicky stuff, and these films are obviously they're not really meant made for a Hong Kong audience anymore, and these are made for a mainland Chinese audience. And Master Z was shot in Mandarin, and it's supposed to be in Hong Kong, and all the actors are speaking Mandarin in Hong Kong in the 50s, and so that makes it almost unwatchable for me. It would be like if you just imagine you're watching a movie about New York in the 1960s, and everyone has a South African accent when they speak English. Like
Right. Right.
the taxi drivers, everyone. You would be like, what is this? It's just so difficult to get into the movie when and it's not a Mandarin dub. They're literally shot with the dialogue in Mandarin now, and that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah,
No, those are very interesting points. No one wants to, you know, hear South African accent
in New York.
in New York. Can you try and do that right now?
I can't. My godmother was from South Africa, so
Oh,
she.
okay.
I'm usually quite good at accents, but
Yeah.
that one I haven't nailed yet. But I was just trying to think of something that would be absurd if the taxi driver, the mayor of New York, the cops all had a South African accent. You're supposed to imagine that this is New York in the 1960s, right? It would be about as equally absurd. But people who don't know the difference between Cantonese and Mandarin probably it doesn't bother them. But for me, it just doesn't make any sense that no one in Hong Kong spoke Mandarin, especially in the 50s and 60s. I mean, unless they were highly educated, it just wouldn't be like that. It just made no sense.
Gotcha. Gotcha. No, interesting point. Interesting point. Were you ready to jump right into this? I got
I'm as
some boot.
ready as I'll ever be.
I got some bootleg notes over here. You're like, man, you even bother to take notes for this?
I watched the film once. It's a
Mhm.
short movie.
Yeah,
Uh, it's like only an hour and 16
it's
minutes, but
77 minutes. That's it.
yeah, I had to. It took me. I watched it in 5 chunks. I couldn't even sit all the way through. I would watch it in these like 10 to 15 minute chunks and stop, and then come back to it. I was like, I'm gonna watch it one more time and take notes, and then I was like, nah, no, I'm good.
Just
The
leave it.
one time was enough.
Yeah, leave it to Samurai Guy. He'll take care of
Exactly, exactly.
it. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into Yip Man, The Awakening. I saw the trailer and I was just like, okay, just from the brief snippets from the trailer, I was like, okay, the last Yip Man movie was The Kung Fu Master. I was kind of disappointed with that one. I like the actor, but with that movie, you don't. I hate movies that kind of just what's the word I'm looking for?
Suck.
They have like the best fight in the beginning,
Yes, 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 yes.
and then the rest of the movie just loses steam, and the fights aren't that good. And that was that movie. He fights like he fights like 300 dudes in the first fight in the movie, and it's like entertaining to watch. But after that, the fights kind of lose steam, and then they focus on other
Mm,
people who can't really fight in the
mm.
movie, and it was just kind of. And then there was no climax showdown or anything, so I was just kind of like, I kind of dropped the ball there. So when I saw the fights, just the brief snippets of the fights from the trailer, I was like, well, maybe this might be at least better than the
Right.
last one. And I was like, well, let me reach out to the Kung Fu genius and I was like, let's do this together. Let's talk about this together, and let's go ahead and get into it. So, quick plot synopsis for Yip Man: The Awakening. We have a very young Yip Man here, and he runs into human traffickers and he fights them. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.
That's it, pretty much.
That's it. We got 77 minutes. We don't have time for character development or anything else. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, the one positive, we'll see if it's a positive. You let me know. Okay. Only for martial arts movie fans. If you guys recognize this little guy, that's right, the little bugger here from New Legend of Shaolin and My Father is a Hero. He starred in both of those Jet Li movies. Both of those movies kind of have a little bit of a lone wolf and cub feel. It's cool seeing him grown, still in the industry, still doing martial arts movies, and it was his crack turn at playing the iconic superhero at this point. Now I will turn it to Alex. Alex, what did you think of the performance, the character, and his fighting style?
So when I started watching the movie and I saw that actor, Mew, I think his name is.
Yeah,
I was like, wait, this guy's familiar.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at him, and then I looked up his Chinese name. I'm like, oh, it's the kid from New Legend of Shaolin.
Yeah.
And My Father is a Hero, like you just mentioned. And then I was like, oh. And then it was just strange because I had not really seen him in anything since that time, and now suddenly he's playing what I assume is like a mid-30s Yip Man. So in terms of his performance, I mean, obviously he's a very talented martial artist. He's also obviously he's not a Wing Chun practitioner, which is always difficult when you as an actor, you're not playing a generic martial arts fighter. You actually have to emulate someone who is a grandmaster of a specific style. I think that's a tall order for any actor that's not specialized in that style. So I'm willing to go like a little easy on that. I thought he actually was not bad. I mean, he's definitely very skillful. He moves well. I think some of the edit choices and the way they did the choreography made him look worse. I think he could have looked a little bit better. This is definitely wasn't like an A team doing the choreography and everything on this project. I think if you had him with Sammo Hung or Yun Wo Peng or something like that, I think he would look a whole lot better. It was obvious that the crew there, in the very first couple fight scenes, there were just a couple edits that really didn't make any sense. It was almost like they kind of froze it and cut it in a way where it's like you can just see that he wasn't really in the action, and so I think that his performance suffered maybe just because of the crew and the choreography and the editing process. But on the whole, I think, I mean, acting wise, I'm not going to say he's a high level actor, but performance wise, I think he had a chance to be a good Yip Man if he maybe had another script and maybe another team.
Gotcha.
One of the issues with it is I just kept staring at that ridiculous wig he was wearing for the whole film and going, why? All right. If he doesn't have any hair underneath, then he would actually look like Yip Man. All right. Why did they put that silly ass wig on his head?
Maybe because he was supposed to play a young Yip Man. I mean, he was acting kind of like a teenager, like like early 20s.
Yeah, but I mean, JMU is 38 years old.
Right. Well, yeah.
You know, and that you asked me about the performance. I don't want to get into other aspects yet until you ask me, but that kind of brings me into a whole bunch of other stuff that I noticed about this movie. But I'll let you tell me when to discuss those other things.
All right, so bootleg points over here. So basically, we have we have a human trafficking dispute altercation between villains in the beginning, and this is not the scene, but this is the actor. And as soon as this guy starts talking, the guy on the left hand side, as soon as he starts talking throughout the whole movie, all he did was talk in like Chinese parables, like
yes.
So like, if you look up at the sun will look back down on you. You know, like the whole fucking movie. It was like this. did you have breakfast today? Did you cook the breakfast or did the breakfast cook you? Like the whole fucking movie. And even the kung fu comedy independent film, The Paper Tigers, that came out I think it was last year, made fun of that trope of
Yeah,
the foreign guaylo who just constantly talks in Chinese parables. They made fun of that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yet in this, it's like supposed to be taken seriously. And I was like, oh man, like, whew, I'm not liking this.
Yeah, also, well, I don't know which version you heard. I assume you also, if you watch the one on the Haya app, it was probably the Mandarin version,
That's the
which is
one
the
I
one I
watched.
saw.
Yeah.
That dude sounded like he was castrated. I don't understand what, like, was that his voice or did somebody dub it? Like, why would he was speaking in parables as if he had been snipped? What was going on there? And that just made him so much less threatening as a bad guy. It's like, hey, dude, yeah, are you all right? Are you
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. Oh my god. But that first human trafficking dispute fight was fucking terrible.
Yes.
You couldn't see shit. And I
Right.
was like, please don't let the rest of the movie be like this. Like it was just quick cuts everywhere, and something happened in that altercation, but we'll never know because the
Right.
movie didn't decide to show us. So I was like,
Exactly.
Then we get the next fight. We have a fight in a trolley. We have some thieves trying to steal some purses, and Yip Man goes in there and fights those guys. And that fight, when he fights the thugs, it's not edited very well. When he fights the leader of those thugs, it starts to look a little bit better, but nothing really impressive. But yeah, we have more scenes throughout the film where girls are going missing, and Yip Man is investigating. We have the sequence where he meets his friend Rickshaw here. I'm just going to call him Rickshaw because
Yes.
nobody gives a fuck who he is, and the movie didn't even bother to tell us, like, go into detail who the fuck he is. He's just his
No.
friend.
Right.
He's Rickshaw. That's it. So his sister Chan meets Yip Man, and you could tell that she's giving him the googly bedroom eyes, and it doesn't go anywhere. They never meet up again. They
Yeah.
never
What's up with that?
nothing happens. And you have these scenes where they're sitting down, kind of reminiscing, catching up, and you have this one shot between friends, both friends here, where the camera pans back, and this is beautiful shot of Brickshaw walking this way and Yip Man going up the steps. And it's actually beautifully filmed, shot. And I was like, man, look at how beautiful that looks. It's too bad I don't give a fuck of what's going on. I
Totally.
don't care. Who the fuck is Rickshaw? Don't really give a shit. You're not even letting us give it like Yip Man here. It's just like, oh God. All right,
So,
let's go ahead.
uh, can I rant about Rickshaw for just a brief
Rant. Yeah,
moment?
yeah, go ahead.
So, yeah, you're totally right. It's like he's his friend from Fatsan, but we don't really know that story isn't like really like the script writer was like, nah, they know each other kind of. Who gives a shit? No one
Yeah.
cares. Um, but supposedly, at least the movie is supposed to take place like in 1930 ish, around that time. And first of all, Yip Man was not in Hong Kong at that time. He was still in Fatsan. All right. So Yip Man was born in Fatsan, grew up in Fatsan, which was part of Guangdong, which is not far from Hong Kong. But Fatsan is this town, let's say by train, maybe about an hour away from Hong Kong, a little
Yeah.
bit more, maybe, where all these famous kung fu masters like Wong Fei Hung, Yip Man, all these people came from this one town, which was like so many kung fu masters. And Yip Man came to Hong Kong for a few years when he went to college. So he actually studied, supposedly, he studied English at St. Stephen's College on the Hong Kong Island side for a few years. And then he went back to Fatsan. And he was in Fatsan until the communists took over in 1949. And then he fled to China. Well, the problem is you cannot talk about these things in Chinese films. Like Yip Man was an anti communist and Yip Man was a member of the Kuomintang Party. So what they did is they just skew the timeline like, oh no, he was already in Hong Kong when all of that unpleasant stuff already happened, as if to
Mm.
somehow say, no, he never fled China. He was already in Hong Kong anyway. So, okay. So now Yip Man is in Hong Kong in the 30s. Never happened, but whatever. Why does Rickshaw have a Qing Dynasty Q hairstyle, because that hairstyle pretty much ended in 1912.
Okay.
And this film's supposed to be in the 30s, from what I can understand. So when the Qing dynasty was overrun, and now you have the new uh, the new era of China before the communists took over, one of the first things they did was abolish the mandate for the queue, because the Qing government, previously in the Ming dynasty, all Chinese had long hair from the front in a braid. But when the Qing dynasty came into power, they forced all Chinese men to shave the front part of their head. That was a mandate. You had to shave your head, I think, every 4 days. And I was just doing some research on it. Or they would literally chop your head. There was a Chinese saying that was like, "You either cut your hair or we cut your head." So
Wow.
the Manchus forced it on the men, so that to essentially to subjugate the men. Oddly enough, they did not make the women use a Manchu hairstyle for women. They let the women do the hair the way they wanted. They only did it to the men to break the men. So in 1912, when the Qing dynasty was booted out, the first thing the new Republican government did was abolish that mandate, and they literally took the troops to cut that hairstyle right away. So why Rickshaw has this hairstyle 15 years later, uh like, again, as kind of a kung fu and like Chinese history and Hong Kong nerd, I watch him like, why does he have that hairstyle? This
Right.
makes no sense. Makes no sense.
Right. Copy that. Wow, it's interesting. Yeah, so let's keep on going about yeah, we don't have to talk about this relationship anymore. Let's just keep on going. They're just friends to the end. That's it.
That's what's up.
But yeah, let's go ahead and go to the human trafficking warehouse fight is the next big set piece. So they see some girls getting kidnapped, and they go to the warehouse here. Now, what did you think of this fight?
Uh, I thought it was okay. I thought it was a little short. I was expecting a lot more.
Yeah,
Like, I kind of thought that was going to be like the mid movie set piece. That would be this movie's version of Yip Man versus the Northerner in the first Yip Man movie. This was going to be that fight scene in the middle of the movie that was like, oh,
yeah.
how are they going to top this one in the end? It was kind of like, it got a little like rowdy and stuff. But I just felt a little, I
Yeah, like
wanted more.
yeah, like it was like, okay, we're getting started here. All right, all right.
Yes,
Oh, we're done. Oh,
exactly.
and then this fool walks in.
Yeah.
Hello, hi.
Il Castrati. We'll call him Il Castrati.
We're gonna call him the eunuch because
Yes.
he's got a high voice. I hate it when villains do this. They come in with they outnumber the hero, and Rickshaw can't fight to save his life.
No.
I hate when they come in and they have all their heavies. They have their, eunuch has his two minions, and they could just whoop Yip Man's ass right there. And they're like, no, no, no. Oh, let us settle this in front of China. Let us show that Bartitsu is the greatest martial art in the world with your puny Wing Chun. Should have added the laugh. Look, I'm bringing more personality than the villain in the movie.
So I just want to say, like, having spent some time in Hong Kong, and the Western actors who decide to go over either to China or Hong Kong,
Uh-huh.
not all of them, obviously, but who decide to go over there to make films are usually like the ones that can't make it back home. So they go, well, at least I can be a white guy in a Chinese movie. They always need one of those guys, and I can get a role. And they happen to just be such subpar actors in every respect. And on top of that, they're also given really shitty scripts. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is just a cacophony of hot garbage when you combine that they're like very piss poor actors working with really shit material. And they're also supposed to kind of be a cartoony villain to begin
Right,
with.
right,
So it just makes this kind of stuff so So
But you
unwatchable.
but you know what kind of balances that though, right? Is letting the martial art actor shine. You know,
Yes.
like, yeah, okay, the script they give him is bad, his acting's bad, he's over the top, but you let his skill shine in a really great fight later in the movie. Kind of helps
Right.
balance things out, right?
Right. Right.
Did we get that with this? Well, we'll talk about it in a little bit. I'm revving up. I'm revving up.
Bartitsu, a fictitious
Bartitsu.
martial art from Sherlock Holmes. Are you
Bartitsu.
kidding me?
Alex.
Yes.
Supposedly there's a Bartitsu club in New York.
There's everything in New York. You don't even realize it. Whatever exists anywhere in the world, there's at least 3 clubs in New York that
So
do it.
I have to ask you, my friend,
Mm.
is Bartitsu real and is Bartitsu legit?
So, I am the kung fu genius. I am not the Bartitsu genius. So I'm more than welcome to be corrected in the comments or by people who know better. From what I understand, Bartitsu is a fictitious martial art that was developed for the character of Sherlock Holmes. I do not believe that it is in fact a real martial art as such. However, I could be totally wrong on that. I've been
Right.
wrong on many things before. I think that it's actually a fictitious martial art. I think it was,
Andrew, don't
yeah.
get excited. Don't get excited, Andrew, because I was getting excited. I was getting excited when
Yeah,
this
I think
Bartitsu was
I
being
think it
introduced.
I think it could have been cool because the idea of Bartitsu is very interesting because it's like a obviously it has Asian influence, jujitsu, so on and so forth, but it's done in a very gentlemanly way. So it's like a
Yes.
martial art you can do while wearing formal clothing with your cane. So you
Cane
don't
fighting.
have yeah, you don't have to like ruffle yourself too much to do it. You could just a couple strokes and the villain will be dispatched, you know? And so there's
Manners maketh man. Maketh man.
exactly. So I think
But
there's something cool there if they
yeah,
had done it again, like to a certain degree. For as much as I did not want to watch this movie, um, the promise of any Yip Man movie, it's always there
right.
because Wing Chun can be a very exciting style. So if you find a really good counterpart to match with the Wing Chun, which I think in any other script writer, competent script writer, or competent film crew could have done something crazy with like a
Dude,
Bartitsu versus Wing Chun kind of idea, right?
dude.
You know?
I was waiting for this because it's jujitsu mixed with boxing, mixed with wrestling, and only the British upper class were only taught this, which is kind of fucked up, you know.
Right, right.
Maybe the girls could have defended themselves against Jack the Ripper if they knew
In
Bartitsu. You know what I'm saying?
in a convenient bit of expository dialogue where he just has to some bystander in the audience just explains what Bartitsu is for the people who don't know.
Yeah, but
And that was
I
the other
was.
thing too.
Oh, go ahead.
It's supposed to be in Hong Kong. These are all supposed to be a bunch of Brits, right? Okay, so obviously the main villain, Il Castrati or the eunuch or whatever we're calling him now, I don't think he was supposed to be British, but all the other people were, and they all clearly were not actually British actors and
Right.
did not speak English well enough. It's like they make a movie in China and they just make a parody of what things were like in colonial Hong Kong. And they just get actors that don't even speak proper English. What are these like Eastern European actors
Yeah.
pretending to be, you know, soldiers in the British military? It's like it's so difficult to. It's a difficult slog.
Yeah, yeah. But let's go ahead and keep it rocking and rolling. I'm having a blast already. Learning and laughing. That's what you get here with the Kung Fu Genius and Fat Samurai Guy. But yeah, so we get to our 10. The movie decided to take a break, Alex. We had a party sequence,
Yes,
fireworks, people eating, chilling.
slow motion glances.
Yeah, that didn't go anywhere.
Yes,
And
of course not.
that was like 10 minutes. Like, okay, we're just padding the film now. Because I thought, like, okay, now we're gonna get the Chan and Yip Man, let's get a little cozy, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
But no, the movie decided to take a break, 10 minutes.
They needed to pad a movie that ended up being 77 minutes.
Yes.
That shows you how lean the script was.
That's probably what happened. Oh my goodness. Now, what did you think of the Yip Man and his master using Wing Chun for while practicing Wing Chun while doing the massage?
So that was one of those. So I nowadays I rate films by whether I throw my shoes at the TV while the film is going on, right? And sometimes I don't throw my shoes. Sometimes I get ready to throw a shoe but don't throw it. Sometimes I throw it. Sometimes I throw both. Sometimes I throw both shoes and start grabbing more shoes to throw at the screen, right? So it's basically how I kind of rate films at this point. And that again was something that pissed me off. Do you know how old Yip Man was when his Sifu died?
No, I do not.
He was 13 years old when his
Oh
Sifu died.
no.
Okay,
Oh no.
so Yip Man started learning Wing Chun at age 11, and he was the last student of Chan Hua Sun, who was the student of Leung Jan, which was Yun Biu's character in Prodigal Son. So Yun Biu played Leung Jan. So the real life Leung Jan, his last student was Chan Hua Sun, and that guy was the guy who was Yip Man's Sifu. But he adopted Yip Man as a student when he was 11, and 2 years later, Chan Hua Sun died. So essentially, Yip Man was really taught by his elder kung fu brothers.
Yeah.
Trey, this film has a 10 shoe rating. Yeah, I went outside and got shoes to throw at the screen.
He's thrown a whole rack.
So, so Yip Man's Sifu died after only 2 years of training when he was very young. So he really was taught by his elder kung fu brothers, and then later perhaps by Leung Bic in Hong Kong. So, so when I was watching the movie, and it's obviously an older Yip Man, and I'm like, who the hell is this old bastard that's like acting like his Sifu? Like, because this guy would be dust at this point in Yip Man's life, right?
Right.
And then the other thing that bothered me, because I'm just such a Wing Chun nerd, is while he's kind of giving him this lesson, he's got the blindfold on, teaching him to do, I don't know, blindfolded massage therapy, whatever it was. He said to Yip Man's character, he taught him a Wing Chun saying, okay?
Mhm.
And Yip Man's character was like, oh, like as if this was somehow like some really deep shit.
It
And
was a revelation.
it was a revelation.
Yeah.
And the saying that he said to him, I mean, obviously it was in Mandarin, the original saying should be in Cantonese, is literally what you teach your Wing Chun students on day one. And so, with like for Yip Man already to be a Wing Chun ass kicker at this point of his life,
Yeah.
and then his Sifu to tell him like some day one shit, and then he's like, oh, I was just like, what is this? What is this? Did he not get the memo? You know, it would almost be like you're learning Wing Chun for 10 years, and someone says, we punch straight in the style after 10 years. And you'd be like, oh, the straight line. It makes so much sense now. It's like, so I heard that and I'm just like, what? One of the things I have to say is, unlike the other Yip Men movies, they usually got Yip Man's son, Yip Jun, or some Wing Chun person to be a consultant on those films. Someone who had some kind of knowledge of the real Yip Man or something. It's very clear in this movie that they gave a zero fucks about doing that, because there is absolutely no attention to detail. Yip Man is in Hong Kong in the 30s, never happened. His Sifu is still alive at that point in his life, wasn't the case. He's learning basic ass Wing Chun after already being a Wing Chun ass kicker, and this was like super revelatory. Doesn't happen. His rickshaw buddy has a Qing Dynasty cute. What is going on here? This is not on this planet. This is some Doctor Strange multiverse kind of
It's
shit.
the multiverse.
This is the multiverse. This
Okay.
is this is something else. I don't know what this is. This is not here. It's not this planet.
I just want to point this out. Kevin Lambert, one of our badass channel members, he's British, and he said he's never heard of Bartitsu. What? Sherlock Holmes used it, okay? He was a real guy. All right.
Yes. Robert Downey Jr. is a real guy.
Right. Oh, my goodness. Dropping that knowledge. So basically, if we're going off of what you just said, then he should have got all his revelations from the villain.
Yes. All that fortune cookie level shit that was coming out of his mouth.
Oh my god! All right, back to the movie here.
Yes.
All right, so now the villains are going around. They want revenge. They're asking for money. They're looking for Rickshaw. They're looking for Yip Man. They want revenge. They're going around, and then we have our first altercation with the villains, the baddies, and we have this black foreigner. I guess he's supposed to be British too. The black actor.
Makes sense. Yeah.
He looked jacked. He looked diesel. I
Yeah.
could not wait to see him throw down. I'm like, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
We about to see some bartitsu.
That's
You know
what's
what I'm
up.
saying? Let's go. Got the brother with the hat tilted. Got the cane out. We about to see some bartitsu, baby. Hoo-hoo-hoo. And the fight was short and was over.
Yeah.
And he just jobbed him out. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like, I was just like, all right, maybe his bartitsu level is low. You know, maybe he's a white belt in bartitsu.
It might be by cane. He was a white cane in bartitsu, right? It's Gibbs by cane color or something like that, right?
But the fight was like looking like we were going to get something cool because they were kind of going back and forth a little bit. And then, you know, it's just, oh, come on, man. And then like he just jobs him out really quick. And then Rickshaw's friend dies, and it's supposed to be this big dramatic moment. He gets stabbed, and I'm like, dude, if we don't even give a fuck about Yip Man, we're not going to give a fuck about Yip Man's friend Rickshaw, which means we're not going to give a fuck about Yip Man's friend's Rickshaw's friend. All right, let's keep moving here. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed, and I was like, okay, well, maybe the other villains later we'll see what Bartitsu's all about, and that'll be kind of fucking cool and badass. I'm still, you know, remember, I don't know the history of the lineage. So as a martial arts movie watcher, I'm kind of just like, all right, this is just average at best so far. So it's like a C. You know, so far it's a C for me. But I'm, you know, fingers are crossed that at least the finale will deliver and punch them some of my bitch up to a B. That's where Samurai's at this point. I'm like, all right, there's still hope. Damn it. All right, next scene. Chan, I'm surprised I even know her name. Rickshaw's sister, I believe, right? I think.
Yes.
Gets captured. And basically we come back to our challenge. They show up and he goes, now, if you want Rickshaw's sister, you must fight Bartitsu minion number 2. All right, so then we have our and Rickshaw doesn't have any faith that his buddy Yip Man's gonna win, even though he's seen Yip Man beat like 50 people already. For some reason, he doesn't think he's gonna win, so he makes a deal. We have our fight here in front of China, and we have what are we calling this guy? Bartitsu minion number 2. What are we calling him?
Yeah, I don't know. Low rent Bartitsu guy number 2 or something like that.
So we have our altercation, and I guess by default, Alex, this is the best fight in the movie.
I think so. By default, you compare all the turds of the fights next to each other, and this one had less peanuts in it or something. I don't know. So it's not quite as bad as the other one.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, some of the fight choreography is fine. They did speed it up, and there was some weird editing for a few moments.
Yeah. There was something they did that was strange with the editing, not just the quick cuts, but there was almost these moments where it would like pause it or something like. I don't know what it was, but there was just something that just kept. It just kept making my eye twitch for a moment. I'm just like, what is this?
It was like you would have these movements, and then all of a sudden, like you said, it would kind of pause a little bit, and then it would be fast forwarded.
Yes, exactly.
It was weird.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, it was very strange. It's like, I'm sure the main lead, he's a badass martial artist. I'm sure he's fast enough to do some chain punches. Sure. But if you listen to the sound effect, he did like 300 in one movement. It was like, you know, it was like ridiculous. But his friend Rickshaw betrays Yip Man. He betrays him, puts something on his cloth, wipes his face which drugs Yip Man, you know, when a movie fails. Now, keep in mind, this is supposed to be a dramatic moment. Like, this is almost like kind of similar to the end finale fight in the first Yip Man with Donnie Yen, right? He's fighting in front of
Yeah, I got vibes of that final fight scene there on the platform.
fighting in
It
front of
kind of felt a
everybody.
little the same.
They're
Oh,
rooting for him.
and also there was, I think it was in this fight where the fight choreographer totally copied some homework from the first Yip Man movie, not just in the fact that they were doing this on the same kind of platform, but there's like a 5 movement sequence. I remember, I think it was this fight where they lifted the choreography one to one from one of the fight scenes from the first Yip Man movie. I
Oh,
just saw it and I was like, literally had already seen this in the first Yip. I think it was from the first fight he has in that Donnie Yen has against the other master who has a friendly challenge.
oh.
They lifted like a 5 movement sequence directly from like they were just copying someone
You
else's
know,
homework on
was
this.
I'm trying to remember because it's been a while since I've seen that fight with Donnie Yen. Wasn't there a scene he get knocked back and Donnie Yen's flying back and he kind of catches himself and kind of
Yeah,
puts
yeah,
himself
it
forward?
was that
That
was at the
happened in
end of
this
the first
fight.
one. Yeah,
That
same
happened in this
thing,
fight
same thing.
too. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. Look at that.
post creative Yip Man universe.
The multiverse, the Yippiverse. So anyway, they're trying to do a dramatic scene here. And when he gets drugged, he starts getting his ass kicked. We kind of see generic Bartitsu, which is really
Right.
just crosses, and he did kind of a wrestling throw. I'm still disappointed with this Bartitsu though. Like I'm like, this is
Totally.
like I'm waiting, this is generic.
It's Barshitsu.
Barshitsu.
That's
There it is.
it's
There it
not
is.
Bartitsu.
Burr, 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 burr. There it is. But yeah, and they're trying to do this dramatic thing. So when he starts losing, he getting his ass kicked. The crowd is stunned.
Yeah.
And then they're like quiet because they're like, Get Man's getting fucked up. He's lost. He's knocked out. And then they do this horrible cut to a little kid crying. I was laughing my ass
Yes.
off,
I
man.
thought that
I
was
was like,
hysterical too.
oh my God. It's quiet and then ah!
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, ah! I was like, oh my God. I'm not supposed to be laughing. This is supposed to be dramatic.
Unintentional comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then everyone's like rooting for him, and then Yip Man wins. He overpowers because he's a superhero now at this point.
He
All
can
right.
handle poison.
So the king of Shih Tzu, we'll call him that. He's pissed off. So he captures Rickshaw. So he's got Rickshaw and Chan. And basically, we go to the hospital sequence. Did you find the hospital sequence hilarious?
You mean the switcheroo at the end, or
Yeah.
what? Yeah, I
And
was like, wow.
were you in tears?
Yeah, I was
That
like,
was supposed
so
to be
cunning.
funny, right?
I think so. I think so.
So for those of you who don't know, the villains go in the hospital, and Yip Man's in the hospital with his teacher, and they're looking for them, and then they can't find them because Yip Man and his teacher switch outfits with the doctor and the nurses, and they're the ones doing the checks on the. It's funny, get it? Yeah, I was just like, okay, movie, pick a tone, movie.
And
All
stick
right.
with it.
Let's keep going here. Let's keep going. We're pretty much towards the end now. All right. So I'm still kind of at a C. I'm still at a C. I'm still like, all right, let's see what happens here. Hold on a second. Sexy Sumo's in the house. The PhatSamuraiGuy say partitsu. There you go.
That would be
There you
more
go.
interesting.
Hashtag Dre. Hashtag Barshitsu in this movie. Oh my goodness. All right. So anyway, so I'm at a C, Alex. So now you've been angry since the movie started because of the inaccuracy, the historical
Everything
references.
just rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah. This is where I get mad. This is what bothers me. So I'm like, all right, I was patient. So far, it's a C. Let's see where it goes. It has its moments here and there, but it's been pretty bland and generic, and I don't really give a fuck. Only an amazing, badass finale can save this. So first, Yip Man shows up, and we have our minions here. And there's like 20 to 30 dudes. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Here we go, son. It's about to go down. I'm going to get my satisfaction. I've had blue balls all the fucking movie this whole time. Okay? Every fight was like, right? Sorry, I had to give you that image. Anyway, blue, I'm like, let's go. I'm here. Let's do this. He's about to fight the king of Barshitsu. It's going to go down. It's going to save this movie. So here we go. 30 dudes. I'm like, let's go. Well, guess what happens, guys? Yip Man beats up 3, and they all run out. All the rest of them get scared and run out. He only beats up like 3 dudes, and they all run. And I'm like,
and they have like hooks. They have like metal hooks.
Yeah,
What's up with that? Yeah. He's grab that metal hook behind his back. That one I was like, wow. There's no threat even from these super dangerous weapons. There's no threat. It's just there's no drama at any moment in these fight scenes.
No. And I was like, come on, man. Oh, Yip Man has a knife now. He took this little butter knife of mine. He's pointing it at me. Let's the rest 20 guys, let's all run out. So I'm like, okay, round. All right. Strike one. I'm getting angry. So then from the trailer, we get this snippet of a 3-way dance kind of, or 2-on-1 fight on the staircase when you look at the trailer. And I was like, oh shit. Are we gonna get shades of Bobby Samuels versus Colin Chow versus Sammo Hung? Are we gonna get shades of the 3D fight choreography? Are we gonna get a little taste of that? And as soon as they started fighting, I'm like, all right, let's go. All right. The camera work was interesting. It showed everything. I was entertained for 5 seconds. Because guess what? He just jobs them out. I think that was like a 10-second fight, or maybe 15 seconds. And I'm like, strike 2 movie. Strike fucking 2. And what I think is weird is before he even got drugged, the minion was kind of still giving him a hard time before he got drugged. But here he's fighting the same guy again.
Right.
With the other Barshitsu guy, and he just beats them in 15 seconds. I mean, that was a hell of a advice he got from his master earlier, because he just leveled up.
Yes.
In 1 hour. Holy shit.
There you go. So that's all he needed. Yeah.
Strike 2, man. Now I'm like, my leg is just going up and down now. My leg, I'm watching, I'm like, I'm getting mad now. So
man, it took you all the way to the end to get to strike 2. Strike 2 for me was like, when I saw all the Mandarin names in the opening credits, like I was like, oh, there's already strike 2 on this movie.
But this is what bugs me. So I'm like, okay, come on, at least give me a badass one-on-one fight. He's finally gonna fight the eunuch. The eunuch versus Yip Man. This is the fight we've been wanting to save for years. All right.
Felt like years.
And as soon as they start fighting, it's over. Yeah. It's over. The king of Barshitsu, he's supposed to be the best. Do you remember him getting a hit?
No, I mean, like there was no threat most of the time, and you didn't feel anything like.
No.
When Donnie fought the karate guy at the end of the first Yip Man,
got a few hits.
Obviously you know he's going to win, but the thing is that guy was threatening. You know, right. There's drama in there. You need that. There needs to be the presence of a threat to our hero for us to be invested in this fight. And it was just like he awakened.
He awakened.
I almost would have liked it better if the eunuch Barshitsu guy just killed Yip Man just for them to do something different. Yip Man just gets his ass beat and dies, dude. And that's the end of the movie. I feel like, whoa,
this is the greatest movie ever made.
This is will they finally kill the franchise here?
He was just as useless. You called it perfectly, non-threatening. He was just as useless as these guys.
Yes.
I could not believe it. So this was strike one. The 2-on-1 fight, strike two, complete waste of these guys
Right.
as martial
Right.
artists. They bring in these,
Yeah.
martial arts dudes, waste. And then when this was my reaction. This strike three right here. This was my reaction. As soon as the fight ended, I said, "Fuck you." I looked at the TV and I said, "Fuck you." Yeah, I was like, "You serious right now, dude?" Just pat a tat tat, rat a tat 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 tat, kick to the side dead. I was like, "Get the fuck out of here." All this build up, this bootleg build up. You don't know anything about Bartitsu. You just wait. Dead.
Oh my
Fuck
God.
you.
You just made him sound like Edith from Archie Bunker there for a moment. Archie, Archie. Where's the Bartitsu? I think I've realized the one thing that's been missing in my all of 44 years I've been alive is I've never watched a movie next to you. Your
Uh-huh.
reaction at the end of the movie, we need to do a commentary on
Let's
a
do it.
film that neither one of us has ever seen before at the same time. And we have to try to see if we can find another shit box like this movie. Oh,
Dude,
Archie,
I'm down.
Archie.
Dude, me and you know we're gonna be riffing the whole time. We're gonna be riffing
Yes,
on the movie.
yes,
I'm
yes.
down. Let me know. Let me know. Let's make it happen.
Awesome.
Oh my God.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I was like, you let me down. I was very patient because you got to remember, Alex, Samurai Guy have seen the worst of the worst of the worst movies. There
Right.
are levels of bad. Okay. So, I mean, have you seen Crazy Fist?
No, so I am very discerning with what I decide to watch in my very precious free time.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
leave it up to you guys to watch this crazy shit, and I'll listen to you guys talk about this crazy stuff, but I usually will never watch shit like this. So what is that one about?
This Snake
Yeah.
Eyes was my worst. I had two best and worst lists last year.
Hmm. Hmm.
Snake Eyes was my worst movie of the year.
Okay.
The movie about ninjas that was supposed to be cool and badass because ninjas are cool and
Right.
badass, but they fucked
Of
it up.
course.
All right, that was my worst
God,
movie
who
of the
fucks
year.
up ninjas anyway? How can you fuck ninjas
How do
up?
you? Yeah,
They're
exactly.
they're so. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. This movie was so bad that when I did my separate movie list, where it was just best of the worst, just with action, Crazy Fist was so bad it dethroned Snake Eyes as the worst
Wow.
action movie. And Rick Myers was right there with me. We both destroyed it together, and it's so bad. This movie's so bad, Alex. Remember, there's levels to bad that it makes Yip Man: The Awakening look like the first Yip Man. That's how bad it is.
Holy cow. Wow.
So this is an F. This is like an F to an F minus. So I had Yip Man at a C after the three strikes. I'm gonna go ahead and rate this some bitch right now. I'm giving it a D minus. Giving it a D minus. If this didn't exist, I would give it an F. But there's
Crazy.
levels to this. So how many
Holy
shoes,
shit.
Alex? How many shoes did you have to throw at the movie? What's your shoe rating?
I threw all the shoes. It's just like, how many push-ups can Chuck Norris do?
Yeah,
All of them.
all of them. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So,
How many shoes did I throw? All of them.
so
This movie was a steaming pile. It just smelled like hot garbage in New York in the summer. That's
yeah,
what I felt about this film.
yeah,
It was terrible. And I'm not even gonna get into the whole thing, like all these mainland Chinese films trying to paint to rewrite history about Hong Kong, and I'll look at how corrupt Hong Kong was when it wasn't under our rule. They had state-sponsored human trafficking and stuff
yeah.
like that, and it's just like, oh, like it just was really hard to sit through. The Wing Chun was not great. The actor, he was not a good actor. He had potential, but everyone at every turn in this film shit the bed and or just didn't try.
And the
It just
small
like
budget,
yeah,
yeah, the small budget has nothing to do with it.
no,
We've
no,
seen smaller budgeted movies that at least delivered with the fights,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely, absolutely,
But yeah, it was a C until the three strikes, and that D minus also went to them not showing the black actor once in the trailer.
oh yeah, of course,
Yeah,
typical
I was like, well, that's
Chinese
kind of fucked
marketing
up.
tactic. Yeah, that's typical Chinese marketing tactic. Of course, they're not going to do that.
Yes, Kevin. So skip this one because I know you enjoy the Donnie Yen one. So yeah, just stick to those, man. Yeah, skip this one. Now here's the thing: casuals watching this, I think they can enjoy this. I really do
Hmm.
because it's quick. It gets to the point. It gets to the meat.
Right,
It's
right,
77 minutes. I think if they want to enjoy, I think they can sit down and watch this and be like, well, that was a nice fun time waster. Like I
right.
could see other people. But for
Sure.
you, the martial arts nerd, and me, the martial arts movie nerd, got to be better, man.
Right. Absolutely.
Got to be
Absolutely.
better.
Do you know what the first iteration of Yip Man was supposed to be?
What?
On film. So they had been wanting to make a movie about Yip Man since the '90s
Oh,
because the reason why they wanted to go that route is because they couldn't really make too many films about Bruce Lee because of the Lee estate. They're very litigious about the use of Bruce Lee's likeness and so on and so forth.
yeah.
So they wanted to figure out kind of a way to get around that a little bit, and they figured, well, we could also do a movie about his teacher. And then so they could figure out a way around it. And they had originally uh, pushed a script in the late '90s that was supposed to star Donnie Yen and Stephen Chow, but they weren't sure which one was going to play Bruce Lee and which one was going to play Yip Man. And as a matter of fact, there was a conversation at a hotel in Hong Kong. I heard from a fly on the wall where Donnie Yen and Stephen Chow sat down in the late '90s and were discussing which one will age up to play Yip Man and which one will age down
Wow.
to play Bruce Lee. And that the film company that was going to do that original movie went under, and then the project got shelved for a bit until Wong Kar-wai wanted to do it in the early 2000s, and then just took forever. And then Donnie Yen made the movie with Wilson Yip before Wong Kar-wai did. But actually, the original iteration of that was in the '90s with Stephen Chow and Donnie
Wow.
Yen. And I would love. It would just be amazing had they made that movie. I mean,
That would have
maybe it would have
worked.
been terrible. Maybe it would have been great, but I just would love to see what they would have
Mm-hmm.
done in the '90s and see maybe the Yip Man franchise would have happened the same way, but it would have finished 10 years ago, whereas we're still in the midst of it now, apparently.
Yeah. Wow. I did not know
Yeah,
that. Wow.
yeah,
That would have been dope for sure. But yeah, everybody
absolutely.
watching who came in just late just now, really quick. Yip Man, The Awakening gets a D minus from the Samurai Guy, and all of the shoes from Alex. Alex, I think you should keep your shoe rating. Don't change it.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
but this was Samurai Guy before the movie, and this was Samurai Guy after the movie.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it didn't work out. And
Wow.
get some good Katila there. Good Katila. We got Andrew down here. Yeah, it's good seeing everybody here, man. Andrew popping in and Dre. Oh yeah, it's good seeing
Yep,
all the badasses, man. Well, this was a blast, my friend. This was a
this was.
blast. I don't want to keep you anymore because I know you got to get sleep. You got people to teach, and me and you, we could talk all day. Martial arts, movies,
Absolutely.
all day. And
Absolutely.
let me know, man. I'll gladly come on a podcast in the future for sure, whenever you get
Awesome.
some free
Awesome.
time. And this is your second home, man. Yeah. And
Thank you. I appreciate
Dre
it.
and Andrew, come on, man. Y'all need to, hey, we'll set it up. Get you guys on here too, all three of you, maybe next time.
Sounds
And
good.
I'm so happy to see that now moving forward, that you have been inspired by this movie and you have given up Wing Chun and you are now going to start teaching Bartitsu, right?
Solely for the mustache.
All right, guys. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to follow Kung Fu Genius Podcast. Follow Alex on Instagram. It's in the description box below. And if you're new here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the old Samurai Guy, baby. We got all kinds of badassity coming soon. Thanks again for watching. Alex, don't go anywhere. See you next time, guys. Take care.